Isra and Miraj, the miraculous night journey of the Chosen One. Prayers are the miraj, ascension, of a believer to their Lord, and a daily source of strength. With it, we rise to the Almighty every day, communicate and draw closer to Him. It was so special that no other revelations were conveyed directly to Rasulullah SAW beside this divine decree of establishing the daily prayers. The event of Isra and Miraj is the miraculous night journey of Prophet Muhammad SAW that happened in a single night. This miraculous journey is marked as an important milestone in the Islamic calendar. The journey of Al-Isra and Al-Miraj consists of the journey from Mecca to Baitul Maqdis, Jerusalem, which is known as Al-Isra, and the ascension from Baitul Maqdis to the heavens, known as Al-Miraj. This miraculous journey is believed to be both a physical and spiritual journey that Rasulullah SAW had experienced, and was unimaginable during his time. While there is no unanimous agreement by scholars and Muslim historians on the exact date that this event had taken place, it is widely believed that this event had taken place on 27 Rajab, just over a year before the emigration of Prophet Muhammad SAW to Medina. Isra and Miraj hold great significance in the lives of the believers. At that time, it served as a sign of the greatness of Allah SWT and His Majesty. It was known to be a miraculous event, as it also ascertained the prophethood of Rasulullah SAW beyond human comprehension. It was a period where the journey from Mecca to Jerusalem would take months to complete. Mosque of Al-Aqsa, Jerusalem. In fact, no other man was proven to have gone far and beyond the known universe. For Rasulullah SAW to travel from Mecca to Jerusalem in one night, and to the heavens, and then return within a single night was beyond the human limitations. It was, therefore, a test of faith for the followers of Rasulullah SAW, and a display of Allah's power and His grandeur. Allah SWT explained this journey in the following Quranic verse. Exalted is He who took His servant by night from Masjid al-Haram to Masjid al-Aqsa, whose surroundings we have blessed, to show Him of our signs. Indeed, He is the all-hearing, the all-seeing. Al-Isra, 17:1. The context of Isra and Miraj. It is important to understand the circumstances and background that led to Isra and Miraj. The episode occurred at a time when Prophet Muhammad SAW was faced with trials and tribulations. His emotions were tested with the passing of two of the most beloved people in his life. It was the year known as Am al-Huzn, or the Year of Sorrow. His uncle, Abu Talib, who was his ardent supporter and guardian when he was young, had passed on. His beloved wife, Khadija R.A., who was the pillar of his life, the comfort of his eyes and heart, had also departed that same year. Prophet Muhammad SAW continued to serve God through serving humanity and persevered in delivering the message of truth. Rejected by the Quraysh tribe, Rasulullah SAW went outside Mecca to the city of Taif with a deep hope that the people there would be more open to listen and welcome his message. Taif, Saudi Arabia. However, he was not only rejected by the people of Taif, but he was also humiliated and attacked. Stones were thrown at him that led him to be injured. Physically hurt and emotionally rejected, an angel was sent to Rasulullah SAW asking him if he would want the people of Taif to be destroyed for their violent acts against the Prophet SAW. As a prophet of mercy and love, Rasulullah SAW forgave them. He prayed not only for them, but for the future generations of Taif to be among those who will accept his message, and be among the believers. It was against this backdrop that Rasulullah SAW was gifted by the Most Merciful with the special gift of performing this miraculous journey. It was the silver lining for the Prophet SAW, who was facing intense hardship and had gone through trials and challenges. True be told, Allah SWT does not forsake His servants, what more His beloved, Rasulullah SAW. Al-Isra, from Mecca to Jerusalem. The night journey and ascension narrative begins with Prophet Muhammad SAW traveling with the angel Jibril AS on a heavenly creation called Buraq to the farthest mosque Masjid al-Aqsa, in Jerusalem. The Buraq is one of the animals of paradise, and is described as a white creature that is larger than a donkey, but smaller than a mule, who would place its hoof, step, a distance equal to the range of his vision. Sahih al-Bukhari. In a hadith narrated by Imam an-Nasai and also mentioned in the Tafsir of Ibn Kathir, Jibril as asked the Prophet SAW to dismount and pray at several points along the journey of Al-Isra. The first stop was at Taiba, which was to be the place that the Prophet would soon migrate to and name the city of Medina. Next, was at Mount Sinai, where Prophet Musa a.s. received the revelation of the Torah from Allah SWT. And finally at Bethlehem, the place where Prophet Isa was born. Olive trees in Shepherd's Field near Bethlehem. Upon reaching Masjid al-Aqsa, Prophet Muhammad SAW led all of the earlier prophets in prayer. Masjid al-Aqsa holds immense significance in Islam, as it was the first Qibla for Muslims, and the third holiest site in Islam. It was a symbol and the home of numerous prophets before Prophet Muhammad SAW. Al-Miraj, from Jerusalem through the seven heavens. The second part of the journey brings Prophet Muhammad's ascension to the heavens with Jibril as. During the ascension, he met and exchanged greetings of peace with many other prophets before him in various heavenly spheres. He met Prophet Adam a.s., followed by Prophets Yahya a.s. and Prophet Isa a.s., and then with Prophet Yusuf a.s., Prophet Idris a.s., Prophet Harun a.s., Prophet Musa a.s., and lastly, Prophet Ibrahim a.s. When he finally reached the highest level in the heavens, he was brought into the divine presence of the Almighty Allah SWT, alone at Sidratul Muntaha, a boundary beyond which none may pass. It is said to be the boundary that has never been passed by anyone except by Prophet Muhammad SAW. Here Rasulullah SAW was given the divine decree for the believers to establish daily prayers. Upon returning from the Sidratul Muntaha, Prophet Muhammad SAW encountered Prophet Musa as. In the tradition, it was described that Prophet Musa a.s. told our beloved Prophet Muhammad s.a.w. that the commandment could perhaps be too heavy for his people to follow. Understanding this, our beloved Prophet Muhammad s.a.w. kept returning to Allah, the Most Merciful, for a lesser number of obligatory prayers for his people. Our Prophet s.a.w. is full of love and care for his followers, and this feeling was bestowed to him by Allah SWT. Eventually, the number of compulsory prayers were reduced to 5. Upon being given that by Allah SWT, Rasulullah s.a.w. did not wish to continue asking for more, and from then, the practice of 5 daily prayers was established. Today, Muslims pray to Allah SWT 5 times daily, from across the globe, from mosques to houses, and many places where prayers can be observed. After all, for Muslims, the earth is where we prostrate, and whenever we prostrate, that is the masjid for us. Muslim man traveler praying on snow. Returning home from the 7 heavens to Mecca. The journey of Al-Miraj ends with the Prophet s.a.w. descending back to Masjid al-Aqsa in Jerusalem. On his return home to Mecca, he saw various caravans in the outskirts and heading towards the city, which he would later describe to the people of Quraysh as proof that he had made this journey in less than a night. There were many who did not believe the Prophet and mocked him for making such a claim. The companions, however, never doubted this momentous event. Therefore, this story was a source of wonder and hope, as it continues to be for us today. On this night, the best of creation s.a.w. was given the honor of traveling to the heavens, and was graced to meet the divine presence. Commemorating Isra and Miraj. Considering its significance, it is important for us to commemorate this night journey by reflecting on the lessons and maximizing our worship and good deeds. Prior to Isra Miraj, Prophet Muhammad s.a.w. had displayed great patience in the face of hardship, and it is of Allah's wisdom that he bestows his gifts and relief to be accompanied with hardships. After all, Allah SWT says in the Quran, "For indeed, with hardship will be ease. Indeed, with hardship will be ease." Ash-Shar 94:5-6. It was here that Allah SWT gave Prophet Muhammad SAW his direct supervision, guidance, and protection. It was also here that he revealed the gift of prayers. Prayers are the miraj, ascension, of a believer to their Lord, and a daily source of strength. With it, we rise to the Almighty every day, communicate and draw closer to Him. It was so special that no other revelations were conveyed directly to Rasulullah SAW beside this divine decree of establishing the daily prayers. The 5 daily prayers form a key pillar of Islam. Without prayers, our lives are devoid of the spiritual connection to Allah SWT. Our 5 daily prayers connect us to our Creator, and pause us from this worldly life to devote ourselves to answer the call of our Master. Muslim man praying on a wooden pier in dusk. Today, as Muslims around the world are faced with the shutdown of mosques, let us ensure that our prayers can continue to be established. For we do not worship the house of worship, but we submit to the Master of the house, our God, our Creator, Allah SWT. May Allah SWT keep our hearts close to Him and accept our prayers and submissions, Amen. For powerful lessons from Israq Mikraq. This journey of Prophet Muhammad S.A.W's ascension to heaven was known as Israq Mikraq. This miraculous event that is very significant to Muslims is believed to have taken place in the month of Rajab. Isra is the night journey from Masjid al-Haram in Mecca to Masjid al-Aqsa in Jerusalem. Miraj is the journey from Masjid al-Aqsa to the heavens. This significant journey has a direct impact on our daily lives as Muslims, in which Prophet Muhammad SAW was commanded for his followers to establish 5 daily prayers, which essentially formed the pillar of Islam. Beyond the commandment to establish daily prayers, there are several other powerful lessons that we can learn from this momentous event in the Islamic tradition. 1. Believe the possibility of impossibility. Israq Mikraq's story is about the impossible being possible. The event itself was physically impossible, beyond the imagination of the people of that time. Even today, the journey from Mecca to Jerusalem takes more than 2 hours by plane. And it takes more than 1 day to journey to outer space. The story of Israq Mikraq may sound fictional. However, we need to believe it with our hearts that it is possible, as Allah SWT mentioned in the Quran about the event to show as part of His signs. Exalted is He who took His servant by night from Al-Masjid al-Haram to Al-Masjid al-Aqsa, whose surroundings we have blessed, to show Him of our signs. Indeed, He is the hearing, the seeing. Surah Al-Isra, 1. Isra and Mikraq is a journey of spirituality in which we should believe in Allah, the promise of Allah, and get a glimpse of what Allah controls and what exists beyond where we live. This also reflects the beauty of having a pure intention and striving hard. We need to have a pure intention in doing the best for humankind and not only for self-fulfillment. Allah SWT mentioned in the Quran about striving hard in doing the best, and also having pure intention to strive for the best. Indeed, Allah will not change the condition of a people until they change what is in themselves. And when Allah intends for a people ill, there is no repelling it. And there is not for them besides Him any patron. Surah Ar-Ra'd, 11. 2. With every hardship, there will be ease. Israq Mikraq teaches you that with every hardship there is ease. The journey of Isra and Mikraq occurred after the period of time that was called the Year of Sadness. It was the year where Prophet Muhammad S.A.W's uncle Abu Talib and his beloved wife, Siti Khadija R.A. passed on. This was also the year when Prophet Muhammad SAW journeyed to Taif with the intention of winning the hearts of the community to accept his message. However, Prophet Muhammad S.A.W was rejected, and the people of Taif pestered him and threw stones at him as a sign of not welcoming him. Tired, forsaken and wounded, Prophet Muhammad S.A.W's faith in Allah was never shaken, although the challenges were unbearable. Instead of seeking revenge, he prayed for not just the people of Taif, but their descendants as well. Allah SWT then rewarded him with this wonderful journey that is perfectly encapsulated in the Quran. For indeed, with hardship will be ease. Indeed, with hardship will be ease. Surah Al-Inshirah, 5-6. Allah SWT took Prophet Muhammad SAW up into His presence to strengthen and prepare him for the challenging phase of his prophethood. Allah SWT showed Prophet Muhammad SAW His power and command, after which Prophet Muhammad SAW returned to earth calmer and even more reliant on Allah SWT. 3. A true friendship of hardships and unwavering faith in each other. Israq Mikraq showed us friendship between Prophet Muhammad and Abu Bakr. On the day following Isra and Mikraq, Prophet Muhammad SAW told the story to his cousin Hani. She was shocked and told Prophet Muhammad SAW not to tell anyone else, as they would not believe in him. Prophet Muhammad SAW left the house and went to Abu Jahl to inform the story of his journey. Abu Jahl called the people of Mecca to listen to Prophet Muhammad's story. The people were shocked and did not believe his story. Some of them went to Abu Bakr and told him that Prophet Muhammad SAW claimed that he went to Masjid al-Aqsa and performed his prayer there and returned to Mecca in one night. The people assumed that Abu Bakr would give the same reaction and leave the Prophet SAW. However, upon hearing that, Abu Bakr immediately said, "I believe." He did not question Prophet Muhammad SAW or doubt whether he was telling the truth. Abu Bakr knew Prophet S.A.W's true personality and character as Al-Amin, the trustworthy. Prophet Muhammad S.A.W's characteristics were nicely encapsulated in the Quran. There has certainly been for you in the Messenger of Allah an excellent pattern for anyone whose hope is in Allah and the last day and who remembers Allah often. Surah Ahzab, 21. How beautiful is their friendship! Abu Bakr showed us what it means to be a true friend and how to have iman, belief, in Allah and His Prophet, even by words without witnessing it with his eyes. For, the success that you seek calls you 5 times a day. Israq Mikraq showed the importance of prayer and salat. The 5 daily prayers are one of the gifts from Allah SWT to us. Commands to Muslims were usually communicated to Prophet Muhammad SAW through Jibril. However, the daily prayers are so important that Prophet Muhammad SAW was ascended to the heavens to speak to Allah directly. When he first met Allah SWT, he commanded that Muslims pray 50 times a day. However, Prophet Musa advised him to negotiate to reduce the number of prayers a day. Prophet Muhammad SAW went back to Allah SWT to negotiate a few times before the number of prayers was reduced to 5 times in a day, but with the rewards of praying 50 times a day. The negotiation process reflects Allah's mercy in Prophet Muhammad S.A.W's love for us, which is also reflected in this hadith. When I came back to Musa A.S, he said, "What have you been ordered?" I replied, "I have been ordered to observe 5 prayers a day." He said, "Your followers cannot bear 5 prayers a day, and no doubt, I have got an experience of the people before you, and I have tried my level best with Bani Israel, so go back to Allah and ask for a reduction to lessen your followers' burden." I said, "I have requested so much of Allah that I feel ashamed, but I am satisfied now and surrender to Allah's order." When I left, I heard a voice saying, "I have passed my order, and have lessened the burden of my worshippers." Sahih al-Bukhari. The miraculous journey of Israq Mikraq indeed has significant lessons that are relevant and timely for us to internalize and practice. The lessons also show Allah's boundless generosity and mercy to all His creations. Allah intends for us ease and not difficulty. He doesn't seek to burden His servants. Our daily prayers are meant to benefit us and not Allah, they are our direct contact and communication with Him. Out of 24 hours daily, we are only asked to spare a few minutes throughout the day to focus solely on Allah. Imagine having to pray 50 times a day. Would we be able to do it? May Allah allow us to have istiqamah and lead us from sin to forgiveness, from darkness to light, from fear to trust,